Don't kick me out, but still I rise.
Welcome to the Super T Podcast Show. So you are going to hear my chirping smoke detectors. The batteries will be replaced soon. Woo! My mysterious yawns. I'm actually supposed to be on the road, but I have shifted gears and decided to do what feels good and right. And although I had a great time last night exploring new ways to build capital and having fun while doing it, I decided that I prefer those options to be optional and not something that I have to do. So what I was doing was door dashing in the Big Apple, and it was fun, but I was out since like around 11 o'clock, and the afternoon, and yada, just exploring it, seeing how it works. It was cool, it was interesting, it was different. Would I do it again? Of course. Do I want to do it right now? Not quite. So I'm not doing it. Nonetheless, I did not come on this podcast to tell you about my exploration into building capital. I came on here, of course, to emote, as I often do. It is a safe space for me, where I can just deal with me and all of my personal thoughts, emotions, and feelings, and don't have to concern myself with them being rejected or accepted or anything. It's just a safe space for me to share. And whoever listens to it, well, they can do whatever the heck they want to do with it, because I have served my purpose, which is not keeping it stuffed inside and letting it go in a safe space. And I think it's important to have safe spaces, extremely important to have safe spaces, and even more important to be able to hold a safe space for others and also be able to create safe spaces with others. So I have one individual that I have created a safe space with as over the course of 5 years, and we've certainly had our challenges and certainly had our disagreements, but through it all, we've been able to always honor each other's feelings and each other's emotions, and never be judgmental or even dismissive, despite the fact that, in their words, I have been running from them. I really haven't been running from them. I've kind of just had to back all the way up, because we were spending a lot of time together. We were co-workers at one point, and then so we were like all the time. We were together at work and not at work, like all the time, and it was good. It was never like, oh, this person's annoying or any sort of thing like that. It was always fun and uplifting, and it was always good. My personality, though, and also their personality, because we're both actually have the same sun sign as a Taurus, was that, we were, I don't want to use the word possessive, because I think that has a negative connotation to it, but we definitely were protective over each other, and he has different circumstances that he's dealing with, and he had a whole lot of different circumstances initially, that caused me to take the falling back as something that was important that I did. But nonetheless, it did not weaken our bond. In actuality, it strengthened our bond. And like I said, he is certainly a safe space. The one person, aside from my bestie, who I can tell utterly everything to, like everything and anything. And he listens. He doesn't judge. He respects my feelings. And he's never, ever, that I can think of, attacked them or rejected them, or made me feel like it was wrong for me to feel the way I feel or express myself in the way I've expressed myself. He just was really open and receptive and non-judgmental about everything, and I've told him everything, And I believe last time I was on here, I was talking about self-regulation and how it's important to take accountability for yourself and to regulate your own feelings and, deal with that. And I kind of want to piggyback off of that in this podcast and just talk about how when you are being responsible for yourself, doesn't mean that you're stuffing them in. It doesn't mean that you're stuffing them or you're ignoring them. It means you're dealing with them, and you have to deal with yourself. It's not anybody else's responsibility to deal with how you are feeling. And that's where I'm at right now. I've had recently, I would say over the past, let's say 6 months or so, a growing emotion that I have to, as beautiful as it is, I have to kind of nip it. I have to cut it. I can't allow it to grow anymore, because the more I allow it to grow, the more potential it has to hurt at the same time as it feels good. Now it has definitely been more good feeling, this emotion and these feelings that have grown or developed just naturally. But the few times that I wanted to openly share, and I really didn't know how to, because both attempts, and I know the attempts were not really great attempts, but they were still an attempt. Both attempts that I went to share with the individual how I was feeling, I was shot down. Like, boop, who shot the sheriff? They did. Down, man down. And it was painful. It's like, I thought you got me. I thought we were getting each other. It was like, nah. And it's so strange to me because of the dynamics around it and the fact that I have really close, like my bestie, we've been friends for like 20 years pretty much, and it's just never been this type of, and she's like a sister, I don't have any real sisters, but my bestie is like a sister to me, and that's the closeness that we have, and it's not anything like the recent development of feelings and emotions that I have experienced. And I just don't know what it's about. I've done all type of things, trying to figure out what the heck it is and what it is. And I just pretty much gave up at this point. And I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. And it's not reciprocated. So I need to protect myself, because if I don't, then my feelings will get hurt, and that's not the purpose of my life. I'm not on this planet to have hurt feelings. I realize it will happen sometimes, but that's not what my life is about. So I wouldn't say I try to avoid. Well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I do try to avoid it. You know, if it has happened a few times already, I'm definitely not going to continue to put myself vulnerable or in the position to get my feelings hurt again. I'm just gonna back off and back away, you know. And I am definitely a thorough believer to the fact that what is meant to be will be, what's supposed to be will be, and it is a natural thing that happens, you know. You don't have to push, and you do have to make a decision if you are deciding upon something, but you don't have to force it. You know, you should never ever force anything to be, especially if another individual is not comfortable with it. And when you truly care about an individual, you will put your own personal feelings to the side and honor and respect what that person is dealing with personally. And putting your stuff to the side doesn't mean that you don't acknowledge them, doesn't mean that you don't feel them, doesn't mean that you stuff them or that you ignore them. It just means that you're not going to just parade them in the individual's face or parade them around because you realize that the other individual may be uncomfortable with their own emotions or even with the emotions that you may be emoting. So that's what I have concluded to do. It's been challenging because I want to talk about it, but I realize that this person is not open to that conversation. They already have a title or a perception towards it, you know, and I recognize that's a lot of society's programming. You know, society says, hey, if you feel like this and towards this type of individual, then you are this type of person, you know, and it's fucked up. It's really a fucked up thing. Okay, I have to turn off my notifications, people. Bear with me as I do that. I can do that really quickly. I don't know what this phone is doing. It's like blinking. Glenn Lee, hey, how are you? I am excellent, but I'm in the middle of a podcast, Glenn. So, someone's reaching out to me. I have a good mind to stop this podcast and reach back out to them. But I am going to just type. So if you hear me typing, that's what I'm doing. I'm close. I'm a music fanatic. You know I love music, people. This is a musician, I believe, inviting me to hear some music. And I don't think I'm going to turn that down. I'm going to actually type really quick. I don't know if this is going to be audible. My typing's in here. But live music, I'm on the road again. I'll give you an excuse. When I visit, I want to see you. Awesome, when you coming? They're not here. When are you coming? I'm not going to say I wish I was one way. I love the multiple, that's not the word I'm looking for. I love me. I'm unique. I have a little bit of this year. Well, you know what, I'm out. This person just interrupted my podcast and tell me they're coming this year. it takes a lot of patience. A lot of patience. I'm learning to deal with men. I think people, period, take patience, but men are different. They will randomly message you out of the blue skies, literally. Like there's not been a build up of, or anything. Like, ain't no consistency. Just, send a message here and there. Hey, what's up? How are you? Like, okay, I'm good. And you would think that the conversation's going to go further, or it's going to be some consistency, and then they just disappear and then orbit back into your existence again. Nobody got time for that shit. Nobody got time for it. But anyway, let's talk about everything. Let's talk about everything because I want to get back to the safe spaces and how important they are. I'm a safe space. People who know me know that I'm a safe space. And you can sense that. You can sense that. But I get that it is challenging to know that a person is a safe space if really your safe spaces have been violated in the past by people who have been closest to you. And I've been there and I've experienced that, and that's not a good feeling, and it's not something that just goes away right away. It takes time to heal from that. And I don't know, maybe these emotions that I have is because this individual really needs to heal on the inside a lot, like on the outside things are great, but on the inside, on the deep levels, I think they need to heal. And I think that's what I provide. And that's why I'm so drawn to just give. I just want to give to this person. And I have to stop myself, because it's I can't deplete myself, and I have things I have to be doing, other things to do, because these other things that I will do will not just give to one individual, but they will give to many individuals. So I have to find a balance, and not allow myself just to be, so absorbed into what they got to do, or what the process is happening on the inside of them. I kind of got to just let it happen. And I was talking to somebody about a spiritual sister, someone who I can just be open and fluent with, about how the energy was, and they have no idea who or what I'm talking about. All I said was, I remember interacting with the person when we initially did our interaction, maybe about a year ago now. It was heat. I could physically feel heat into my solar plexus. And I felt that once before. And the individual that I felt that once before with, we were cool as cucumbers together. Another coworker, even though we worked different agencies, but same building in Midtown, and just cool. But there was just such an attachment, and the attachment was so strong that when things started happening in their lives, I was affected by it, and vice versa. And I was not comfortable with that. I was like, hold up, I don't know if I signed up for this, And eventually we kind of drifted off in our own directions. And I had a very vivid dream about them recently, and I decided to reach out to him. And when I reached out to him, he answered. It was his birthday weekend. He happened to be in all places in the world, in Houston, Texas, celebrating. And it was interesting. We talked very briefly. I just recently celebrated my birthday a few weeks prior. So I sent him some pictures and left it as that. I don't really know what's going on in his life, because I haven't talked to him about 2 years. But nonetheless, that was the only other time I had experienced that physical feeling of heat in my stomach, And I think that, it's not even a thought, it's really something that I know, that this person that is in the need of healing and dealing with stuff that they have stuffed down, deep down, that they also are carrying a lot of individuals. You know what I mean? Like they are being that source, that inspiration and that empowerment, and that source of energy to people. And they know how to recharge themselves, obviously, but sometimes their recharging is just like a quick recharge. It's not a full, let me unpack all of my shit, let me deal with my shit, and let me get to be the greatest me I can be, not just on the outside, but also on the inside too, and let me forgive, and let me, not allow the inadequacies of others to change who I am, to cause me to build a wall of protection around myself. Let me just accept that person's inadequacies as what they are, and let me realize that I can be true to me safely and really not give a hootenanny about how other people are going to judge, or whether people would try to, the box they would try to put me into, or anything of that sort. Let me just be true to me, I don't think they've really have had the space and time to do that. And I hope that they start doing that, even if they do it in little micro units, like take a day off here just to be by themselves. No kids, no nothing, just them, just with their own thoughts, with their own feelings, and just them, dealing with them, unpacking and clearing and, making amends where they need to make amends at, that's my wish, because when you are in a position where you have to, well, not you have to, but you have decided, you've chosen to carry other people and be a foundation or something solid that they can grasp to when they are not feeling so strong themselves. It could be tiring, it can definitely be tiring, and I see them doing it, and I get why. I had a close friend of mine. Her name is Miss Irene, and even though Miss Irene was much older than me, and she more so was like I call her my adopted mama, we just had a very special bond, and our bond was so tight that, I just would spend a lot of time with her, and her son, who was my age, could not fathom why I was spending so much time with her, and I didn't even really know why initially. I just know it felt good to be around her. I know she cared about me, and I know that I could just be me, another safe space, and she wasn't judgmental. Sometimes she was tough on me. She talked smack to me, but at the end of the day, she loved me. And even if we would have a disagreement, she would reach out to me, and she showed, what I'm saying? She wasn't one of those people that was just like, I want you to do things my way, and if you don't do it my way, then I don't know who you are. She was just genuinely accepted me for me. And it was important for me to have someone like that in my life, and also to see how she had gotten through the loss of a child, and how someone who knew what that pain felt like, because that's, there's all different types of pains, and that's a pain that people, unless you have experienced it, you don't really know what that has felt like. You could imagine, and even your imaginations could feel a way, but it's completely different than the actual thing. And she'd actually lived through that and still was her beautiful, bright self, and giving and generous and loving and kind. So I spent a lot of time with Miss Irene and her little darling granddaughter, Ryan. I miss Ryan so much. I know Ryan's a big girl now. But anyway, I'll see Ryan again down the line somewhere, somehow. I'm pretty sure the universe will cross our paths again. But yeah, we had great times. We just had great times together. Excuse me. She passed a few years ago. She had cancer, and even all the way up to the end, she basically fought, and it was tough, but now looking back, all of the times that I did spend with her, I appreciate them even more, because even when I wasn't aware of what was going on before she let me know about the situation, she knew, and it was good to spend, for her to choose to spend her precious moments with me, and it was something special. So I get a lot of the dynamics of the different situations going on, and I accept them, I accept them for what they are, and I get it. But at the same time of me getting it, I have to make sure that what I need for myself, and not even just what I need for myself, what I want for myself, that I also have those things as well. And that's where the safe spaces and the emotional intelligence comes into place. It's unfair to demand that of a person who may not even have the space to do it, or not even know what is required to do it, or might not even feel comfortable to do that, And when I say do that, I mean like just to create a safe space, and not just a safe space, but a sacred space, and to be in that space and just be our authentic, soulful selves, not the personalities that we wear or carry to deal with society or deal with the public, but just to be authentic selves, and it's cool. If it's not available from what I can see from the individual who I very loosely will say the object of my affection, because I have not been able to be affectionate with the person, but I do feel a desire to be affectionate with that person. And again, I don't know if that is because of their need for healing, or just they need to have a space where it's just like, let me just unwind, let me just be, without any type of pressure or cap, or, So, nonetheless, my good friend, who me and him have created a safe space, and going to say I was running from the space, but I guess I had to. Sometimes you got to back away so that people can see more clearly. Sometimes when something is right there in front of your face all the time, boom, bam, boom, you can't really see it clearly. But when it backs up, you get a little bit of distance, then you can kind of see the oversight and see the big picture, the bigger picture. And I think that's what has happened in our relationship over the years. And because that has happened, and because they have been completely open with me, pretty much about everything. And we do have a safe space between us. I am considering, really to now pour into that. I have not been pouring into it over the years because I've been backing away and pouring into other things. But now I feel like it might be a good idea to actually pour into that and see how that flourishes and see how that grows and see what happens. That doesn't negate anything else because I am an open book and he is fully aware of my other emotions and other directions, and he accepts it and it's cool. He's not like, oh, you like that? You one of those type of people? It's none of that. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay. Well, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I ain't got no judgment. But that ain't gonna change how I feel about you. And it's like, oh, thank you. That's all I wanted, I didn't want the judgment, and I definitely been getting a lot of judgment from certain individuals. It's like, oh, she's like this or she's like that. And it's like, I'm not like nothing. I'm just me, I don't know what the hell this is, but this is what I'm feeling something, and I just want to talk about it because it seems like you are too, but I guess it's not something that you talk about, so I won't mention it no more. I will not mention it no freaking more unless you bring it up. I'm not going to take it back or anything. I'm just not going to bring it up, and cool, whatever. So that's where I'm at. So I recognize that my venting, I'm gonna call this venting. I'm not gonna give it a pretty name like I did the other venting I did. Because I realized this venting has went every freaking, all everywhere. It's went everywhere. I stopped in the middle of the podcast while the podcast was still recording to respond to a text message, and I get it, I get it. I am unique and it's cool. But the point of the whole matter was for me to be able to talk about this in a safe space, which this is one of my safe spaces. It could be judged, it could be psychoanalyzed and whatnot, but I really don't care. It's none of my business. My mission here on this particular podcast is just to get this stuff off my chest. I don't want to write it down, because I thought about doing that. I thought about writing it and putting it in a poem and a song or something to that effect. And maybe later on I'll put it into a song and it'll be a hit. But right now, I just wanted to get it off my chest because it's there. And as I am shifting directions, and allowing someone else to fill that space, someone who I know that is going to reciprocate what I put out there emotionally. They're not going to be like, no, what you talking about, Takara? You know, this man, and I know he's older, so he's more mature. He has more experience in life. Maybe, 30 years ago, he might have been like that, But now, in his 50s, he is not there. He is comfortable in himself, comfortable enough to be himself, comfortable enough to express how he feels. And I appreciate that. And I want that, because I'm comfortable for the most part expressing myself. Unless I get shot down, just blatantly, like, not shot down in a it's not what you do, it's how you do it. You know what I mean? So one thing my mama, God rest her lovely soul, always tell me, and there has been things that I know he has not necessarily agreed with, but he would just be like, I don't agree with it. It wouldn't be like, he's never like just totally disowned his own actions and stuff like that, or his own feelings. He's always just been open and honest with me, and that's something I could appreciate, and that's something that I have to make room for. And for me to make room for that, it doesn't mean that I stop caring about anyone or anything. It just means that I have to place things in their proper place, and that's the best thing to do for myself, and it doesn't necessarily feel so great doing that, because it felt great, just the naturalness of whatever it was, the natural, I'm gonna call it energy exchange. The natural energy exchange was phenomenal. It was just phenomenal. It was a good feeling. It was phenomenal when it was not restrictive. When it was just flowing and wild and free. It's a good thing. But we're very much similar when it comes to reservations, and I kind of wanted to not be so reserved, but it was kind of challenging not to be reserved around another reserved person, because it was just like, okay, it was weird. It was always strange. When I was ready to flow, it was like brick wall. When they were ready to flow, my brick wall. It was like, that's how it was. So anyway, I get it. I have good reasons for it to have brick walls up. And then my brick walls was not up just for general purposes, even though I can instantly throw one up. But they were up for good reasons. It's like, okay, I just poured out everything and took a big leap of faith, and then got basically shot down. Like, oh, no, so sorry, nope. And I'm like, okay, all right, my bad. I must have misinterpreted my own emotions. Must have been a misinterpretation of my own feelings. My bad, And then, not just a misinterpretation of my own feelings, but a misinterpretation of the perception of the possible mutual thing that was happening, but then other individuals was like, nah, yeah, it's a mutual thing. I'm like, really? Because I don't know, because I try to talk about it, they like, nah, you bugging, you tripping, that's not who I am. I'm like, oh, my bad. It felt like there was a possibility of a possibility. These other people told me that they felt the same thing. They saw it and they witnessed it, and But all right, okay, I'm gonna take your word, because why would you lie? Why would you lie to me? I have an answer for that, by the way. How can I expect someone to be honest with me if they're not honest with themselves? Just saying. And the ego of me, I want to say it's the ego of me, because I don't think it's the heart of me, but it could be the heart and the ego of me together that's at cahoots, that knows a way to kind of not nudge, but kind of just get them to look at the stuff that they're stuffing, because I feel like they're stuffing it in, and it's like, oh, okay, that was great. Now stuff it. That was wonderful. Stuff it. That was amazing. Let me stuff it. I just feel like that. Feel like that's what they're doing, but maybe that's not what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you. I'm just making assumptions. I know one thing they're not doing, and that's being open and honest with me. But again, I cannot have that expectation if they're not being open and honest with themselves, and also if I'm not being completely forefront neither. I did initially minimize it to just the physical part, and I didn't really, talk about everything, because it was still just a lot and different and new, and I didn't know what the heck it was, and I hadn't really sat with it and analyzed it my own self. It was just like, I just felt it. It was like, woohoo, this feels awesome. This feels great. Can we keep doing this exchange, And I think if I would have came at it like that, it would have been a different response, instead of me putting it into these words that kind of seemed like I was just on a very superficial level with it, and it just never was a superficial thing. It never was like, oh, these are what my eyes are telling me, my eyeballs are telling me. It was more like, this is what my soul is feeling, and my soul is feeling this. So is your soul feeling? I know your soul is feeling things too. From the things you've already told me, the expressions and the things that you have expressed have confirmed that your soul is a little stirred too. What we gotta do about this soul stirring shit? Have you felt this soul stirring shit before? I just feel I feel awkward to even have that discussion at this point, for the simple fact that I have already came from a superficial standpoint initially. Then my second standpoint was passive aggressive attack. It's like, no thank you. None of those things work for me. I'm laughing because I could put myself almost in their shoes, and I think I would have maybe tried to analyze it a little more and then respond like that, but I didn't even give the time for that. I was just kind of like, so, and now they're just like, don't you ever bring this up again. Well, just like, never ever bring it up again. Okay, I know I brought it up the wrong ways, but alright, fine, I'll never ever bring it up again. So what do I do with it? I place it somewhere safe and sacred away and I get what's needed for myself elsewhere. And leave it as such. I think the exchange would have been nice. I think, it was a beautiful thing, but I feel like I have to nip it. Don't allow it to grow wild and free, because it's no fun growing wild and free by yourself. That's to be a mutual thing. If it's not mutual, then it can hurt. And that hurt part is no fun, people. It's no fun. It's no fun. It's no fun. It's no fun. So I feel like I have to kind of like sever that aspect of it, and keep the parts that I don't even know what to keep. Me. That's what I'm gonna keep. Me. Call me back to me. Call me back to myself. Appreciate them. Love them unconditionally. But realize that I have to do what's best for me. And I tried to express myself, although I failed. Obviously, I did try, So I give myself credit for that. And it is what it is. So this podcast is all about venting. I like to spill my tea. And I'm a mystery and a puzzle. But those who are just as puzzling and mysterious as I am will get me completely. And that's probably not going to be my grand audience. The grand audience is probably just like the sound of my voice, kind of like Delilah. But instead, it's super tea. And yeah, I was completely out of tone there, because I didn't expect to put a tone to my name, Super T. But most of my audience is probably just listening to the beat in my voice, and they probably just fell asleep. But to those who actually listen and made sense of my ventings, and if anything is applicable, because I don't know, it doesn't show me who listens to it, it just shows me how many people listen to it. But if it is applicable to you in any shape, way, form, or matter, no, ultimately, I'm going to put it out there into the universe. What would be nice? What would be nice is if the amazing energy exchange between me and this individual would be allowed to be wild and free, and that the only constraints would be the ones that we mutually agreed upon. But together, we'll be wild and free. We would accept how we feel, talk about how we feel, without any judgment, without putting labels or boxes on either one of us, and just express ourselves. And even though they have shot me a few times, I would definitely accept an apology and change behavior. Like, I'm sorry I shot you. It was just me being defensive. This is how I'm trained to be, but I don't want to take away from this energy exchange. I don't want this energy exchange to deplenish or, retreat. I like it the way it is, and I would like it to grow, and it's different for me, it's scary for me, but let's at least try together to figure what it is out, and, let's just keep things between us, let's discuss things, let's be open with each other, let's build and trust. And it's not easy for me to do that because people that have been closest to me, that I just knew that they were going to do what was right, have not done it. And so it's not easy, but I'm willing to deal with the challenge of it not being easy for the sake of it to be what it is, because I think dealing with uneasiness is better than dealing with separation, or severing the ties, because it's definitely a soul tie people here going. I don't know when the soul tie was formed. I don't think it was just formed just now, It's not what it feels like. It doesn't feel like, hey, I just met you and I don't know you and, oh, I want to get to know you. It feels like, to me, people like, oh my God, where have you been? And it's like, not a, oh my God, where have you been, of a superficial meaning. It's like, oh my God, where have you been? Like eons. Like, it's been eons and eons, and this is cool, and this is amazing, and here we are incarnated in this lifetime. Let's do some amazing stuff, and look what we got. We got these amazing freaking bodies, man. We got these amazing taste buds and stuff. I think we need to utilize these things and just feel amazing with them. Like, that'd be my concept. I know it's weird, it's strange. It's not really weird and strange. It's really actual. It's actual and factual as can be. But not everybody's mindset is there. Every mindset is like, I'm a soul or I'm a spirit, and I'm just having a human experience. And human experience details eating and pooping and pleasure and all that good stuff, because that's the purpose of coming into the human experience, is to feel. You can't feel this shit as a soul, you might maybe vibrate on the level of it, but you can't physically feel the shit that you feel as a human being, as just a spirit, so while we are in these bodies, I say the fuck we enjoy the shits. You don't hurt them and put them through pain unnecessarily, enjoy the motherfuckers. Anyway, that's my personal thoughts, my personal concepts. And everybody's open to that, We have these social constructs. I don't know who constructed these social constructs, but they are limiting, to say the least. They are limiting, and they make just being a soul, having a human experience, a bit more challenging than it should be. It should not be challenging at all. It should just be good and flowy and free. And of course, we have our own personal traumas that we have experienced. I have my own, and I had to heal, get beyond that, get past it, but ultimately, I would like for the natural energy exchange to continue. It's a great feeling. It's not only is a good feeling, but it's a good effect. It's a good effect on me. I know it's a good effect on them. I know it's a good effect on everybody that is around both me and them when we are just allowing it to flow, But they kind of like stop me, like, ooh, pump your brakes. Nope. You're trying to put a label on me, and I'm like, I'm not trying to put a label on you. I'm trying to figure this shit out. You're making it hard for me because you act like I'm the only person that's feeling it, and I know you're feeling something too, and maybe you are putting it in a box, or maybe you are titling it yourself, but I'm not titling it. I'm just like, ooh, this feels good, and I just want to, can we do some other stuff and see how that feels too? It's pretty much what I be trying to say. It's not exactly what came out of my mouth or on paper or through my text messages, so sorry about that. But now I just don't feel comfortable to say anything because it just shot me down twice, and I don't know if I can recover. I was like, I don't know, hurt my feelings and stuff. It make me think I'm bugging the fuck out. I'm not bugging out. I'm not. It make me feel like I'm bugging out, but I'm not. I know I've been hearing everything. Act like I'm hearing shit. You ain't saying shit to me. Just because I didn't respond, I wasn't rejecting you. I was just, I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was being too concerned. I was doing what you doing. Being too concerned about everybody fucking else. You know? I think it would have been a completely different reaction if it was just, if I would have caught those things that you said, because I caught them all. I caught them all. I know I caught them all. I know I didn't just hear them. In my head, you literally said these shits out your mouth. Made gestures and did all type of stuff. And I really didn't respond. Maybe just only with my eyes. But I was too worried about everybody else that was around. And I didn't want to get lost. I feel like I got lost the first time. The first time where it was just like the energy exchange intensified and I was gone. Like, I could see the people, I could hear the people, but I was not there with the people. I was looking at our own little universe for a moment, and it felt amazing. But then, you know, because there were other people, you know, I was like, I didn't fight. I didn't fight to keep our universe. I let other people influence our universe and temporarily split up our universe. And then when I tried to put it back together again, it was like the person who split it up was like, hey, you know me over here? Yeah, I'm on a time frame, so, you know, that's cool that you want to explore that, but remember, I'm on a time frame right here, so don't forget the fact that I'm on a time frame. Just don't forget that. And you're like, yeah, you're right, and you're right. Let me focus. Let me focus. You know, but it was so beautiful. It really was. It was all of it. It was beautiful. I can go into all of the details, but I think that'll be TMI and too revealing. But I don't know, part of me thinks and feels that maybe one of my listeners, 10 people listened to my last episode. I don't know who these 10 people are. But again, could be 10 people all over the world, because my podcast is played all over the world. It could be, you know, people I do not know personally. But I think that maybe possibly one of the 10 people is the person I'm talking about right now. And if that is the case, if I should be so lucky for that to be the case, then I know that through my words that you hear me. I know that you hear me, and that you hear my soul. I know that you get me. You act like you don't. And when you act like you don't, it hurts so bad. It really do. It's like you're lying to me, or you're lying to yourself, or whatever. You're just lying, and you don't have to. Not for me. Not to me. I like the space. I like our own universe. And I realize that we share the world with other people. We have other loved ones.